turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club, let's try that again. From Governor's, it's going to be that kind of show already. From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, you see, it's comedy. This is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Let's see if I can get some words out now. Everybody, I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call here on Sports Bash. Welcome to the show on this Tuesday after we had the snowfall over the weekend. Hopefully you are all shoveled out. There's still a lot of ice on the ground, so please be careful if you're driving around Long Island. So hopefully everything will start to melt a little bit, but it's still a little nippy outside, so it's still icy. So just please be careful. Make sure you're subscribing to the Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook, and follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen to Sports Bash on Apple Music and Spotify. Coming up on the show, a couple of great guests here on the program. We're going to be joined by the cancer fighter, Sean Wachter, a pro wrestler who also worked with me on our ill-fated arena football endeavor. We might get into that as well, but mostly we're going to get into John Cena's last match in WWE on Saturday night. Sean has brought some hardware with him, and unfortunately, he is going to make me look bad once again. This happened. I went through this for 5 months working with him. Always showed me up with the way he dresses compared to the way I do. And as soon he knocked on the door, Tony answered the door. I said, "This son of a you-know-what is going to be dressed in a suit And sure enough, he walks in trying to do his best Cody Rhodes imitation, walking around with a suit and tie all the time. But Sean is going to join us in about 15 minutes or so. We're going to talk about John Cena's last match on Saturday. And I'm sure Peacock got huge numbers for that on Saturday. I know they had a sellout crowd in Washington. We'll talk to Sean about that. This also could be a big night for the Knicks. The Knicks have not won a championship since winning the NBA championship in 1973. Now, this has been kind of like the butt of jokes, but the Knicks can actually win a championship tonight. They're playing in the final of the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament in Las Vegas, against the San Antonio Spurs. It's the Knicks and the Spurs in the NBA Cup final tonight, and it's NBA rules that if you win this, because the Lakers won it last year, they had to hang a banner, and they had hats and T-shirts. So if the Knicks win this game tonight, they're going to hang a banner at Madison Square Garden for winning the NBA Cup. Take it how you will, but we're going to talk to Anthony Donahue, who's been on the show before, a big Knicks fan, also does some great Knick events at Madison Square Garden, and a brand new dad. And we're going to talk to Anthony coming up at around 1:40 later in the show. We're also going to have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll have what's hot at ticketbash.com and the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. Before I get to what I wanted to start with the Jets and the Giants, I was a little pissed off driving over here today. And Tony is choking on his lunch. Tony Walker, my producer, and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show, weekdays, Monday through Friday, 11 to 12:30. And lovely Diane was your co-host again today, and just people have heard me talk about it, but I listened to the end of the show on my 10 to 12 minute drive from my house here to Governor's, and I love the show on Tuesdays because they end the show with trivia, and I'm driving, and I listen on. Sometimes if I'm stopped at a red light, I'll voice text the answer to a question in the chat, and I'm driving in. And I started listening in the middle of the trivia, so I missed the first few questions. And I come in and I hear Tony say to Diane, "What was the full name of John Travolta's character in Saturday Night Fever?" And I got very, very excited because Saturday Night Fever is one of my favorite movies. I know it very well, and I knew the answer to the question. Unfortunately, another one of my favorite movies is Grease. So I go to my phone, I hit voice text and everything, and I go, Danny Monero. Now, the voice text wasn't even spelling Monero correctly. I got Minucci, I got Mineo, whatever it was. But here was the problem. I had the first name wrong because I combined Tony Monero, which was the correct answer, with Danny, who was the character in Grease. And I'm like, Tony, you should have seen me in the car. I was so mad at myself because I'm like, I know the answer to that question, and I screwed it up. But you did get some people that got the question correct, right?
Yes.
Yes, and it was Tony Monero, and obviously Saturday Night Fever was a great movie. By the way, I don't know how many people will agree with me on this. I liked Staying Alive. I know it was wow. You're looking at me like I'm like five heads here.
That's like liking Grease too.
Oh, I hated Grease too. It sucked. But I liked Staying Alive. The music in it was really good. I thought it was actually a pretty good story. The mother was a little horrified watching that show at the end of the movie, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I liked Staying Alive. I thought it was an okay sequel. Like most sequels are not really that good, but I thought Staying Alive was good. But I was so angry at myself for messing that up because I'm like, I'm going to be the first one to answer this correctly. And I'm like, Danny Monero. And I'm like, oh, you stupid idiot, Peter. It was because Diane had somebody that she called. Didn't she phone a friend to get the answer correct, right?
She called her boyfriend.
She called her boyfriend, right? And I was like, oh, I'm so stupid. Of course it was Tony. But I hear John Travolta in a movie, and I'm thinking, oh, it's Danny Monero. Like, you idiot. Danny was the character in Grease. But in any event, obviously, two great movies. So But that's all. But you do a great job with those trivia questions.
thanks,
Those
pal.
are fantastic. Do you like go online to research it, or do people send the questions in to you?
I do it myself online.
Very good. Very good job.
Thank you.
Are you open to taking submissions? If I ever-
Absolutely.
Oh, good. I'm going to start to think about
We
that.
we also do a thing with Diane on Tuesdays where we take baby pictures of famous people, and she has to
really?
guess who it is.
Okay.
So if you'd like to
That
share,
must be early in the show when I'm preparing
Yes.
for my own show.
yes. Well, if you'd like to share a baby picture at some point, I'll
Of
throw
myself?
it on. Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
I have one in my phone, I think.
All right. Well, yeah, send
then
it over
maybe
at some
I'll do
point.
that.
We'll try to stump Diane
Maybe
with it.
Sean Wachter will
We
send
can do
in
that
a
too.
baby picture also.
Yeah. Me and him,
We'll
we had
see.
the same haircuts when we were babies.
Well, I'm
you-
wearing a hat,
Yeah,
and but I have no problem with being bald or balding. I have no problem with it. But when I go a little too far without a haircut, I start to look like Bozo the Clown, especially when I have the hat on, because then like the hair, like my father, may rest in peace, had the same thing where the hair comes out the side of the hat. So I was kind of in that in between thing today where it's the hair is a little out of control to wear it out in the open, but just good enough with the hat. The hat's big enough that it covers it up. But tomorrow I'm going to go get a haircut. So I'll be nice and, I won't have to wear a hat at Thursday's show. Nice. I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow. Before we turn our attention to John Cena and the Knicks later on in the show, obviously a lot to talk about locally in sports. And we'll start with football. And the Giants, obviously, with another loss. And, this Jackson Dart thing is really getting out of hand. I mean, the poor guy got a concussion. And now every time he gets knocked down, they're sending him to the blue medical tent. And I think the NFL is taking this a little bit, too extreme, because they wound up having to take him out of the game in the middle of a drive, and they're trying to score and come back in that game against the Commanders on Sunday. And every time this poor guy gets knocked down, they're sending him to the blue medical tent because he had the concussion earlier this season. And listen, and I understand that the NFL is trying to take care of its players, but I think it's a little extreme. And by the way, the NFL also being a little hypocritical when they say they want to make sure they protect the players. You wouldn't be playing Thursday night games. These guys play in a game on Sunday. They get to recover on Monday. They're back on the practice field Tuesday, and they're playing a game on Thursday. So this Thursday. So don't let the NFL make you believe that 100% they are interested in the safety of the players when you're asking the players to play, 4 days after they just battled for 3 hours. But in Jackson Dart's case, I think it's a little bit too much, and the Giants are a little annoyed by it. Jackson Dart didn't know why he came out of the game, and it could have cost. It may have cost the Giants, a win on Sunday. And I think they have to really take a good long look. Look, if a guy has a concussion and he misses a couple of games, he comes back in. Football, and maybe I'm a little biased on this because I have a son who plays football, and my wife and I have watched, Bradley grow up playing football, and everyone's like, "Oh, you let your child play football, blah blah blah," all that nonsense. But guys get hurt in other sports too, so that's what we always say back. But football is a physical game. I mean, you're going to get hit. I mean, that's, people cringe every time somebody gets hit. Like, they wear a helmet and pads for a reason. They're well padded. Like, so the fact that Jackson Dart keeps getting taken to the blue tent because he had the one concussion, I think he's actually had two. I think he had one earlier. But in any event, I mean, he bounced right back up. He seemed to be fine, and they just keep sending him to the tent. And at some point, the Giants are going to have to really take a good hard look. I mean, this is going to be a continued problem. He's supposed to be their franchise quarterback. He needs to stay on the field. So I just have a hard time, and I know they want to protect the players, but I think it's getting a little out of hand with them. They keep pulling Jackson Dart. Over to the Jets. What another miserable performance on Sunday in Jacksonville. And when you watch the Jets play defense on Sunday, it makes you wonder if the defense was even trying. And it certainly looked like every Jet defensive player was trying to get Steve Wilks fired. And you know what? Mission accomplished. They got it done yesterday because Aaron Glenn opened up his press conference yesterday by announcing that he had fired Steve Wilks. And look, and I give Aaron Glenn, a ton of credit for realizing he made a mistake. Not all first-year coaches will admit that because they want to have the ego and say, look, it's my guy. We're going to get it turned around. But, and I know some people will say, well, they traded Sauce Gardner. They traded Quinnen Williams. They're missing a couple of pieces. That's fine. I get it. But did you watch the Jets try to tackle on Sunday? Have you watched them the last few weeks? I was fortunate to be there when they won a game a few weeks ago against Atlanta, but still that defense has been horrible, and they have to go in another direction. And I give Aaron Glenn, who's been under the microscope and he's been under fire for the way he's talked to the media, the way he's handled some things, maybe some of his in-game coaching decisions, but he is a rookie head coach. But I give him credit. He realized there's a problem and he corrected it, and now we'll see. Beyond this year, after they finish up this year, what direction the Jets go in as far as defensive coordinator. But they are a mess, and they right now, the good thing that happened on Sunday is that Indianapolis lost again with 44-year-old Phillip Rivers as their starting quarterback. His first game in 5 years, he came out of retirement. So Indianapolis lost again, and what this means is the Jets have actually improved their draft status for round one. They now have the fifth pick in the draft, and they're going to have the Colts pick, which it was 18, and it was in the 20s. And you figured the way the Colts were playing, the Jets were going to have a very, very low first round pick that they were going to be getting from them. But now it's in the teens. So that was the one thing that went well for the Jets. And here's an interesting scenario. Right now, the Jets have the fifth pick in the draft. The Giants have the first pick. If it stays that way, and you assume that, and what happens when you assume, but if you assume that the Giants are going to stick with Jackson Dart as their franchise quarterback, the Giants don't need a quarterback with the first overall pick. So you have the Giants picking first, the Jets picking fifth. The Jets may want to trade up to get Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. What would the chances be of the Jets and Giants doing business and swapping picks? What it would cost the Jets, and obviously would cost them to move up from 5 to 1. It probably cost them another first round pick, maybe a second round pick, maybe a player. I'd have to see what the offers might be. But if you're the Jets and your conviction is that Fernando Mendoza is the franchise quarterback you've been looking for years, you have to figure out a way to maybe do business with the Giants. And here's the only thing that I'm worried about. With the Jets and Giants doing business for a trade of that magnitude, the Jets and Giants did business building MetLife Stadium. And we know how that turned out. So I don't know if it's the greatest idea in the world if the Jets and Giants were to do business with a trade like this. But it'll certainly be a lot of fodder on this show, on sports radio, everywhere on television. If that's the way it works out, if the Jets finish with the fifth pick and the Giants finish with the top pick, how long will it take for the Jets and Giants to enter into trade negotiations? Because it's going to get brought up. We have a lot to cover here on the show. When we come back, it was the end of an era for WWE on Saturday night in Washington, D.C. The greatest of all time, John Cena, called it a career in his final match. We're going to talk about it with my good friend, the cancer fighter, and 1/3 of the CEP Tag Team Champions, Sean Wachter, is going to join us to talk about John Cena when we come back right after this.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Morning Lions Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Last chance. And now just pummeling with blows to the jaw and again into the sleeper hold.
Just those primitive instincts of Gunther kicking in as bloodthirsty as you like. Gunther is feasting on the carcass of John Cena's career.
John Cena has tapped out.
Here is your winner, by submission, the Ring General, Gunther!
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. We thank the WWE and Peacock for the footage of the ending of John Cena's final match on Saturday night's main event in Washington, D.C., as he taps out, losing to Gunther in his final match on Saturday night. And when I knew in my heart of hearts and in my brain I wanted to talk about this on the show, I could only think of one individual that I would love to have, and he is my good friend. He is the cancer fighter, a two-time cancer survivor, and he is now 1/3, and we'll explain later what 1/3 means, but 1/3 of the CEP Tag Team Champions, my good friend and former arena football cohort, Sean Wachter. We might touch on that a little bit later on. Maybe we'll just a little bit. We'll leave 30 seconds at the end to talk about it.
30 seconds of fondness.
Well, happy holidays. Good to see you, my friend.
Happy holidays
and
well.
you know I'm pissed off at you.
Well, I
because this all the time we had meetings during our 5 months working together in football, and there were supposed to be casual meetings. And I show up, not necessarily in an old T-shirt or sweatshirt or anything, but I'm casually dressed, and this clown is always walking in with like he's ready to go on a job interview. He's like always going to see doing this. You mentioned Cody Rhodes when you walked in. You always see Cody Rhodes dressed in a suit when he comes out to do a promo in the ring. When he does interviews on TV, he's always in a suit, and there you are in your little outfit today.
Well, look. I'm kind of playing catch up as it is. When you look like this, you got to put the glasses on so people don't think you're a primate.
Right.
And then they come off, and then it's like I got to cover up all the tattoos. And
yeah.
I kind of harken back to playing football in college, and then playing in the Arena League. You came to the building dressed to the nines, and when I started to try to wrestle on one of the first few attempts that I had made. Local wrestling trainer, VP over at AEW, Pat Buck, said to me, "Hey, look, you paid the level of respect to football and lacrosse, showing up on game days, suit and tie." He goes, "That's how this gets done in the business of wrestling," and I've just had that kind of carry over. So it is paying respect to you and Tony by showing up here.
There you go. Well, look how Tony is dressed too. It's not like
he's off camera. We're not trying to draw attention to the man. It's the magic of radio and YouTube. Oh, God almighty.
That's okay. Enough of the funny stuff here.
That's all it is funny stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. We're in governors. What am I talking about? In any event.
You're literally in a comedy club.
Yes, there we go. So John Cena, and it's amazing for people who are not wrestling fans. It's kind of hard for people to digest what Saturday night meant to a lot of people. And this was a night that was being built up for over a year since John announced last year at Money in the Bank that he was going to retire, and he was steadfast through the whole year. He said 40 dates, 36 dates, whatever it was. I've got 10 dates left. I've got 6. This is it. And he spent the whole week leading up to Saturday doing a million different interviews, not on here, but a lot of places, and everybody was asking him the same question. I mean, is there a chance that you can come out of retirement? And he said, no, this is it. Did you ever think during the course of the year that maybe this, not that it was a ruse, but maybe that there would be a chance, because people started talking about The Rock maybe coming back and inducing him into a match. Were you convinced by Cody all year long that Saturday was going to be it?
I was not convinced.
Did I say Cody? I meant John Cena.
It's okay. It happens. It happens. No, I was kind of ball up in the air for most of the year. But as they started making announcements and he started to support those announcements by saying, yes, this will be my final time in a wrestling ring, I think John Cena throughout his career has carried himself most similarly to Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Where obviously New York Yankees, WWE, two different balls of wax, but still two prominent sports properties franchises. And with Cena being team captain of WWE for so many years.
23, 24 years, right?
Yes, I believe that, I can't read the man's mind, but hey, look, he's from Tampa too. Mm-hmm. John Cena, where he now ultimately hangs his hat, no longer in West Newbury, Massachusetts. Yeah. But I think he definitely took a page from Derek Jeter's book of the way he presented himself, the way he's carried himself, the way he's kept his personal life private. And I feel that he is somebody who is of integrity. Some of the people that I have shared locker rooms with who have had personal interactions with him, even matches, have said that John Cena is a man of great integrity. So when they said this is the last date and he's saying this will be the last date, I don't think he has it in him to go against that, especially now where, not to take it into another realm, but we have TKO, obviously, parent corporation at WWE, right, pricing tickets at an absurd premium. So I think
like you literally have to take out another mortgage on your house to afford tickets these days.
So I think John Cena, being a man of the people, mm-hmm, not to be cliche, I think understands that and understands that there will be people. Hopefully no one took out a mortgage to go see him. But hey, look, if that's their proclivity, their choice, then so be it. But I think he realizes that, and I don't think you'll ever see him again in a wrestling capacity.
Well, he signed a deal with WWE to continue being an ambassador, so I'm sure you'll see him pop up on TV, make an appearance. Listen, WrestleMania 2026 will be in Las Vegas again. I'm sure he's going to be in the Hall of Fame class. This is one of those situations where it's kind of like, the NHL waived the 5 years for Gretzky and Lemieux. They went right in after they were done playing. I can't imagine John Cena is going to have to wait much longer than this year's WrestleMania to go in the Hall of Fame.
I think they'll place him in. I think also, too, as you and I have spoken about at great length, some people are not happy with the way it ended. Some people are happy. Wrestling fans are very segmented. Mm-hmm. There's multiple types of flavors of ice cream in wrestling and fans, the way they digest it. But I think with Cena, regardless if people are happy or sad with how it finished up, you will never see someone like John Cena again, in the sense that he is a leftover from over, as you said, 23, 22 years ago, where they would wrestle 300 days a year to be on the road.
Right.
Now,
and that started to change when WCW was in their heyday, because they were bringing all of the high-priced guys
mm-hmm.
over from WWF at the time, and basically giving them the same, if not more, money to work a lot less dates. In fact, John Cena said, I saw one of the interviews last week where he said his original thought in the retirement tour was that he wanted to do like 200 dates this past year. And the WWE said, no, we were just 36 to 40 dates, and that was fine with them. And I think it worked out, except for the botched heel turn. I think it worked out pretty well this year.
Well, kudos to them for pivoting off of that and listening to the fans and saying like, hey, this isn't working. We need to go in a different direction. And I think that they've been better with that over the past few years. I do think that once WCW went away, it's kind of started to say like, hey, we're the only show in town. You're going to do what we want you to do if you would like to make money. However, though, TNA still hung in there, and now you've seen their trajectory and where they're at. So now they're yet another viable option for talent. AEW is still around. NWA is still around. So there are plenty of places for people to work, but the putting an emphasis on the performers and making sure they're taken care of and rested, I don't really feel came about until the late 2010s when people started to look back. And there was that, again, now we had AEW come to prominence. So now yet there's that WCW-like, I don't want people thinking of calling it so I don't get flooded with hate mail, but let's just say what it is. It's another form of competition that was offering a lot of money with less dates.
Right.
And when they scaled back WWE, that is to kind of sit with them at the level of dates, I think they kind of realized, hey, we're still making a boatload of money. Let's let these guys and girls heal up a little bit, because you'll see, obviously, there's less reliance on performance enhancers or painkillers and all those unfortunate things that plagued wrestling early on.
My guest is Sean Wachter, the cancer fighter. We're talking about John Cena's final match. Let's get to the final match on Saturday night in Washington. And Triple H, Paul Levesque talked about this on the post show afterward. There is a time-honored tradition in pro wrestling where wrestlers do the right thing, and they call it putting the other guy over, and that means losing. And there have been examples in the past of great wrestlers losing their farewell match. I'll always remember the end of the Ric Flair-Shawn Michaels match where Ric Flair gets kicked by Shawn Michaels, and that was the end of Ric Flair wrestling in WWE. Shawn Michaels lost his retirement match. Kurt Angle lost his retirement match. So I think a lot of people were expecting John Cena to lose his retirement match on Saturday, but I think a lot of fans, and we saw when we were coming back from the break, we saw the video and you saw some of the reaction from the people at ringside. I think people were taken back at the way that it ended with the tap out, and Gunther spent a week telling everybody, I'm going to make John Cena tap out, I'm going to do this, and people said, he's John Cena never gives up, he's not going to tap out. He taps out with a smile on his face, which was poetic, I think, in a sense. What did you think of the ending, and what was your interpretation of the smile on John Cena's face?
I'm going to say something because you've asked me to be here as a guest today, an expert, but I'm sure as I will say this, there will be a lovely, beautiful woman known as my wife sitting somewhere in parts unknown going, oh, I can't believe you just described it this way. But it's how I view it and how I feel it to be. I feel it was a beautiful moment in wrestling, much like you had brought up when Ric Flair took Sweet Chin Music from Shawn Michaels at the end of their WrestleMania match, and the camera panned up, and there's Rick with his dukes up, like Old Yeller ready to go out, and there's Shawn Michaels, and they pan over him, and you can read his lips as clear as crystal saying, I'm sorry, I love you, thwap.
Boom, that's it.
1, 2, 3. With John Cena, again, beautiful moment, the zoom in, and he just has this like peaceful smirk on his face, and it wasn't an aggressive tap out. It was just I'm good.
Okay, that's
I'm
it.
good.
I'm done.
And people will say, oh, he gave up. Necessarily doesn't mean he gave up. It's almost more so like he clocked out.
And he's at peace with it.
He's at peace with it. His work is done. It's time to set the stage for new superstars and new faces of the company. Because as you and I have discussed off the air, I don't think you'll ever see a face. Again, it will be faces. Because they're not going to allow someone to carry that type of weight for that long.
Because there's too many talented people coming up that are already on the main roster that are at NXT there are people coming up through TNA and AEW and
Like
you mentioned NWA. There's so much talent coming up that it's going to be hard for somebody to take the reins for that long.
You know, it's not like the 80s, the 90s, even the early 2000s now. Again, something else we've discussed. People consume their wrestling. Oh, wow. You think I'd be able to see the one word that I talk about nonstop? Wrestling.
There must be something in the room because that was the way I started the show.
Gosh, maybe there's not enough coffee in here. But people consume their wrestling much differently now. Like people say, like, oh, well, look at the ratings. And it's like, well, the ratings don't mean anything anymore. I'm somebody who half of their livelihood comes from being a performer, being a wrestler. And I don't even watch Monday Night Raw or AEW Live or NWA on Roku.
Watch the clips.
I watch the clips. I watch the clips. And if I think it's something that I'm like, hey, I need to take a look at this, whether it be purely as a fan or as a performer having to study an aspect of it, I will then go watch it in its entirety. But mostly it's X, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's everything.
And they do a great job. All the companies do a wonderful job. Like, you know, there's a sequence in a match, and their social media people, they get it, boom, it's right on. You can see it if you're watching like on a Monday night, or if there's a pay-per-view and I'm watching a game. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go check out X or Twitter and see like what's going on in that match. I'm like, oh, this is going on, and then you find out the results, and you can watch. And again, if it's that big of a deal, you can go back and watch the match.
You can watch it, and I think, like I said, the way people digest entertainment now. I even see my two little gremlins at home, and it's just basically the way they do things is quick.
Do they wrestle each other?
No. Well, the little one, the little one now will get up and go, "I kick dada."
I kick dada.
Yeah, that's what happens when you bring them to watch me actually perform. They see me do some of those tie kicks, and the next thing you know, I'm getting beat up, and then the older one's smacking the side of her leg.
I got to see the look on their faces firsthand when you came back and wrestled at All Sports not long ago. Let's talk about what you're doing now, and obviously that night at All Sports, you became a champion again in pro wrestling. You are. This is the fabulous Freebirds rule because you are now 1/3 of the CEP tag team champion. So congratulations on that.
Yes, I don't know how that all mathematically works out with a third of a tag team when there's supposed to be two people, but yeah, we have the three.
Well, it's you, Joe Ocasio, and Tom Latimer.
Yes, former NWA champion Tom Latimer, Joe Ocasio, another NWA affiliated wrestler, and myself. I have my affiliations with the NWA as well. Currently, I've been assigned to NWA Exodus Pro, which is essentially like their AAA team for their territory system. So I'm getting to slowly work with those guys. So it'll be interesting to see where things lead with that.
And you're having fun with it, right? Because obviously it's been a journey for you, back and
forth.
Well,
as I've told you, and we've done print interviews before, I will never call what I do a career, and I do that out of respect for the men and women that spend 15, 20 years, 3 or 4 days a week doing nothing but making wrestling shows and then training on top of it. This past week I traveled for 8 days for some regular work, and then we had some wrestling work to do, but it was 3 shows in 5 days, 2 television promotions, and then CEP on Sunday to defend this guy with Joe Ocasio and Tom Latimer.
I love this belt. I'm gonna pick this up for 1 second. We'll move the we'll move the stanchion out of the way.
Yes.
And everyone knows what the world of professional wrestling is. And some people have not been happy with the Unreal show because it maybe some old school wrestling fans and performers might have taken offense to there's too much revealed about it. But so in winning this and being given the strap, what does it mean to you as someone who was a fan growing up, and you're in the business, you're a pro wrestler? Irregardless of how pro wrestling goes, what does it mean to have this?
To me, it means that the folks at CEP, they believe...
I'm going to be a baby right now.
There we go. To me, it means the folks at CEP, the folks at Lucharitos, one of the CEP sponsors, they believe in me. They have confidence in me, not only as a performer, but as a person, where obviously it helps elevate the Cancer Fighter brand, but it also helps elevate their brand as well. I've kind of had a resurgence in wrestling the past few months, getting to team up with Joe Ocasio. Joe is
great guy.
Joe
Great
is
guy.
fantastic. Joe has opened so many doors for me, and I firmly believe I would not be positioned within the NWA or given the opportunity to further position myself with them if it was not for Joe Ocasio, Tom Latimer, and a more recent acquaintance, EC3, formerly of WWE, TNA, and NWA.
I still am going to hold you to my two things on my bucket list in sports. Number one is to be a ring announcer for a wrestling match.
We could definitely get that done.
So I want to be a ring announcer, at least for one match. And here's the other thing, too, is I want to hit somebody with a chair. Or I want to be the guy who's like the celebrity at ringside, like the Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson. I want to be the guy who gives somebody the weapon to hit somebody. So, like, if you're in a match, like, this is what I would like to do. If you're wrestling in a match, I want to be ringside with my family, and then out of nowhere, I hop over the barricade, I grab a chair. When the referee's not looking, I slide the chair to you, and you hit somebody over the head with it. Can we make that happen?
We could do that, or, just to talk briefly about something else neat that I've been doing in wrestling is, we have a couple episodes already in the can. I'm working with David Marquez and Championship Wrestling and their Gotham Wrestling brand, where they've kind of taken me a little bit and said, you know what, the Goodwill and the Cancer Fighter, that's awesome. Let's creak into that executive business side of yours.
Yeah.
And they've had me at ringside for a bunch of matches as Sean K. Wachter, MBA, which is a little bit different for me because it's doing.
Is that like IRS or Renar Shyster?
The best way I could put it. Okay, so the best way
old school wrestling fans.
The best way I could put it is a Catholic Paul Heyman. That's the best way.
Catholic Paul Heyman. There you
That's
go.
the best way I could do. But I think maybe that could work. Maybe you could see me doing something dastardly, and you actually hit me with the chair. And
I would never turn on you.
Well,
I can't turn heel.
It would be you correcting me for making those heel mistakes.
No, I would never
when
turn heel. I'm not a heel.
Like our last taping, I had Carl Anderson of the Bullet Club, the Good Brothers, draped over a rope, choking the tar out of him. So I needed my good friend, Peter, to smack some nonsense into me.
We have a minute because we got to get to talk a little Knicks with Anthony Donahue in a few minutes here. But we met. And became very good friends because of indoor football.
Yes.
I was hired as the general manager of the New York Dragons. I hired you as director of operations. I think most people who have followed me on the show and my other platforms and your other platforms kind of know how that all turned out.
That was tough.
Yeah. I will say that the lasting legacy of that is that I was introduced to you, was introduced to Marilyn Rich, and I think the three of us worked very, very well together for those 5 months. And I know there's a lot we can't really talk about when it comes to the 5 months. There's two words that come to mind. It's called pending litigation. But I thought it would be cool if I asked you one question and you asked me one question about the experience. So the one question that I would ask you is, would you do it again if the opportunity came up?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would. I would do that, but obviously a good amount of due diligence would go into.
I think so.
Obviously when being offered a job with somebody who will not take the credit they deserve as being someone who's prominent in New York sports like yourself, who I've told you countless times that when I remember listening into the radio with Jets, just driving home, your voice is what I remembered. So when I had the opportunity to accept a position working with you, I was like, this is a home run. And
you literally worked for peanuts.
Yeah, pretty much. We were joking about that before we went there. I won't release the number, but any of my...
it goes back to pending litigation.
Any of the fellow sports executives I've talked to, whether it be football, wrestling, lacrosse, they've all just kind of...
They thought we should have had our heads examined.
Well, people thought I should have had my head examined for quite some time now. Probably you included, but I don't fault you. I've kind of said, welcome to my wacky world. I guess the question I would ask you is, would you do it again?
Yeah, I think the due diligence has to be a little bit more next time. And look, I've told everybody that would listen to me. The 8 years I spent with the original, I can't use the word original because this Dragons never got off the ground. but the 8 years I spent with the Arena Football League and the Dragons was the best job I ever had in my life. And I think we were all sold a false bill of goods that we were able to bring that team back. And I would absolutely do it again. I would do it with you. I would do it with Marilyn, a lot of other people that I think were good people that were brought into a bad situation, but 100% I would do it again if the opportunity came along and it was the right opportunity.
The thing is, and not to steal more time from your show or to dedicate more of our energy to this, because we've been churning this over personally, professionally, on air, off air for quite some time, is just that we had everything we needed in place as far as on our end.
Yeah.
We had great partners. We had a great coaching staff. We had
really good players.
We had a
coming to
roster
training camp.
of phenomenal players. I don't just sit here and feel bad for us. I feel bad for the community, the coaches, and as somebody who worked his way around different arena football leagues and even had a cup of coffee for 2 seconds with the Dragons, I just feel the worst for our potential players that were promised the opportunity to play professional football, to live a dream, and then unfortunately to have that taken from them. And I guess this is where I got to drop the pending litigation hammer and butted it up a little bit. But no, I goodness.
Next time we do this, can we get some towels?
We could get some towels. I will say, though, while it was very painful and stressful to go through this because you and I worked hours that were not in the day, I just am thankful that I got out of it. A friend who now sits on the one hand that I can count of people that I would trust my children with. So thank you to you and your family. And
thank you for being a good friend and coming in and
anytime.
bringing the hardware with you. Sean Wachter, the cancer fighter. It's not the last. That was not the last time we were going to work together. It's gonna happen again. I have a feeling. Thank you for coming in. We'll be back in a minute. We're going to talk Knicks basketball with Anthony Donahue when we come back right after this.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
Great opportunity for us to, be in that kind of playoff atmosphere and understand what's on the line and go out there and show ourselves again, how disciplined you need to be to win these kind of games in the NBA Cup.
That's beautiful basketball. The bounce to Bridges, threading the needle and another heartbreak. Up top, Brunson to Robinson with the crank.
For us, we're on a good path right now of growth and where we want to be as a team. And, we love this. We think this is awesome to have something to fight for so early in the season. Great opportunity for us to...
Welcome back to Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz. Again, we thank Sean Wachter for joining me in the last segment. The video you just saw coming back from break courtesy of the Knicks and the NBA. And it's been a long, long time since the Knicks played for a championship. In fact, it was the last time they were in the finals was 1999. And before that, 1994. The last time the Knicks won an NBA championship was 1973. And although it's not the same as winning the whole NBA World Championship, tonight the Knicks are going to play for a championship in Las Vegas. They are in the final of the in-season tournament, the NBA Cup. They'll be taking on the San Antonio Spurs tonight. And no better person to talk Knicks basketball, a good friend of the show. He's been on a couple of times before, a great Knick event host and a Knicks super fan like you would never believe, my good friend Anthony Donahue. Anthony, it's Peter. How are you, sir?
Peter, what's going on? How are you? I'm good. I'm here in the snow in the Bronx, and I'm not in Las Vegas, but pretty excited for tonight. I can't say I have emotion towards tonight. Like I root for the Knicks. I'm the same guy. I'll lose sleep if we lose a preseason game, but I can't say if we won tonight I would feel like emotional. At least I don't think.
So, as you know, I work at WFAN, and Joe Beningo was on yesterday, and he basically flipped out when he was told by Evan Roberts that if the Knicks win this game, I guess the NBA is mandating that you raise a banner. The Lakers raised a banner last year for winning the NBA Cup. So, would you take any pride at the Knicks' next home game if they win tonight and raise an NBA Cup banner at the Garden? Would you like that? Would you have a problem with it?
Obviously, Adam Silver is trying to push this, and hopefully, I guess for Adam Silver's sake, 50 years later, it'll be a lot more popular. If they raise a banner, I will clap for it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I would have tears in my eyes, like if it's opening night and we're raising a championship banner.
Yeah.
I'm by no means rooting for us to lose. I did joke around and say the only year, of course I want us to win. I would not have wanted to win the first one, though, 2 years ago, because that would have been joke central for the Knicks. But, if that's what the NBA wants to do, put a little banner up there, I don't know, go for it. There's division banners, and again, maybe 50 years from now, this will be a big thing, kind of like, college basketball, and you had those little tournaments in season, or you got
this could be like the Maui. Anthony, this could be like the Maui Invitational.
Right, exactly. So, again, I'm rooting for us tonight. I'm not, again, I don't think if we win, I'm gonna have emotion provoked. I actually have an idea what the NBA should do, although they would never do it. So every player gets $500,000 if they win. And for the most part, that's not life-changing money to an NBA player.
Right.
For you and I, it probably is.
Oh, no, for me, Anthony, not probably, definitely.
So what they should do is they should take one $500,000 check, and let's say for every NBA team there's 7,000 to 10,000 season ticket subscribers. They should split that one $500,000 check with season ticket holders, and then the players can really say, we are playing for the fans.
Yeah.
So imagine if you had 10,000 season ticket subscribers, divide that by one $500,000 check. That'd be a good amount of money for a lot of people. I think they should do that, and then whatever team wins, they could say, we were literally playing for the fans.
And then, Anthony, you woke up when after you thought that they might share some of that money with the fans.
But Peter, there's 15 players on a roster.
Yeah.
Would you coaches get the check too?
I don't know the answer to that question. I really don't.
So let's just say it's just the players. You can't add one more $500,000, and that goes to you divide that with season ticket holders of that team.
Yeah, look, I think it's a great idea. I just don't think they're in the business of sharing money with the customers that are just going to wind up giving them the money back anyway. So
yeah, I know. No, they're not going to do that. But I thought that to myself. But yeah, it should be fun tonight, and you hope nobody gets hurt.
Yeah,
and at some point there will probably be an injury in one of these games. Hopefully, it's not this year. But when it happens, that's probably when the league's going to shut it down.
But this game does not count as a regular season game tonight, right?
It does not.
It does not.
It does not.
So, but obviously, it's been ridiculed. It's been talked about. But I think the NBA got exactly what they wanted out of this. People like myself and people on the Fan and ESPN, everybody's talking about it. And the fact that the Knicks are in this game, and the fact that Victor Wembanyama is in this game, I think the NBA probably could not have asked for a better situation. I mean, depending on other teams that might have squeaked their way in it, they got the number one market in the game. They got one of the game's bright young players in the game. So I think the NBA did well with the matchup tonight.
Oh, they definitely did, and there's no other games on tonight, so the NBA has the spotlight. So, good for them. And, of course, the Knicks are always a story. The Knicks, of course. Now, this I feel people are just doing for clicks, which a lot of people do nowadays more than ever. And again, there's nobody that bleeds more orange and blue than me. There's nobody. But, comparing this to 1999 versus Spurs is just weird. It's
ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
That was the last time the Knicks were in the finals, but, don't compare that.
That's right. The Knicks are going to get their revenge on the Spurs tonight, right?
Right. It's just that's a little weird. But again, if we win, I don't think I'm going to be I don't know if it's going to be like a shed a tear moment, but again, I'm not rooting against. I'm not Joe Beningo. I'm not rooting against us. But it's definitely, like I said, let's see where this is at. And forget I said 50 years a few times. Let's see where this is at in 15, 20 years, if it's still a big thing.
No question about it. Anthony Donahue, Knick event host and superfan, is joining us here on the show as the Knicks and Spurs play tonight in the NBA Cup Final. Once this game has come and gone tonight, the Knicks turn their attention back to the regular season, and they're off to a terrific start, 18-7. After the slow start on the road, they've won a couple of road games. They're in first place of the NBA Atlantic. From your perspective, Anthony, can you kind of sum up where the Knicks are right now? It looks to me like when they're healthy, they are the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. How do you look at the Knicks right now, 25 games into the regular season?
Well, listen, Mike Brown got a well-oiled machine. This team was ready to win. You know, just like when Joe Torre got the Yankees in 1996, that team was ready to win, and they added a couple new players. And this Knicks team did not add a Derek Jeter, but they added to the bench, and they have a team that's ready to win. The Knicks look great, and they're exactly where I think they should be. I don't expect them to be 25-1 like the Thunder are, but no, the Knicks are in a great spot, 18-7, 12-1 at home. The 12-1 at home is very important to me because too many times, even over the last 3 years, the Knicks have been a very good team. We've lost so many games at home. Random guys coming into the Garden going crazy. So to be 12-1 at home, I think, is incredible. Mike Brown's done a good job opening up the offense a little bit more, not as much ISO Jalen Brunson. But don't make no mistake about it. When the game is close down the stretch, it's going to be give the ball to Jalen Brunson and get the hell out the way. But no, the Knicks have been great. The Knicks are ready to win. And, we'll see come the spring. The Knicks are going to win 55 to 60 games. But then, the Knicks, to me right now, Peter, they're not a cute story anymore. It was a cute story for 3, 4, 5 years. Now it's going to be the fourth year in a row, fifth year out of six in the playoffs. And now it's time to get it done. Now it's time to get to the finals. Now it's time to win a championship. We shouldn't be celebrating, winning game one of the first round outside Madison Square Garden like it's a championship. So now it's time to win. Now it's time to, end that 53-year, drought. Now it's time. We're not celebrating first-round championships anymore. We're just not doing it.
Yeah, it's time to get down to business and end this drought of a championship for the Knicks. First time since 1973 when they finally do win it. Let me close with this, and I wanted to make sure I got this in because not long ago, one of the newest Knicks fans came into the world, and that's when you and your girlfriend Alicia welcomed your daughter Autumn into the world. How has first of all, how is mom and daughter, and how have you been in fatherhood-wise?
They're both great. They're both doing incredible. So far, after 7 weeks, she's been a really pretty chill baby. A lot of people before she was born were giving me a lot of horror stories, and I understand every baby can be different, but she's a pretty solid sleeper. Like, people are coming up to me at the Garden, like, are you sleeping at all? I'm like, yeah, we're sleeping pretty good. Don't get me wrong, we're up like any baby every 3 or 4 hours, but, like, she seems to eat and go right back to sleep. So it hasn't, so far, after 7 weeks, it hasn't been as intense as people said it would be, but I'm aware, like anything in life, things can change tomorrow. So far, so good. She's a beautiful baby. I love her so much. And it's been awesome. It's definitely been awesome. And we plan on taking her to the game on March 1st, ironically, versus the Spurs.
That'll be great. And by the way, my wife Cheryl says about, babies, you can't wait for them to walk and talk so you can tell them to sit down and shut up.
That's funny.
Well,
but she hasn't been as so many people gave me. And listen, I'm sure there are their share of horror stories. So many people gave me such horror stories, and so far it really hasn't been that.
Well, knock on wood, everything goes well. Anthony, congratulations to you and Alicia on the birth of Autumn, and thank you for coming on to talk about the Knicks for a few minutes. Good luck to them tonight in the NBA Cup Final. Happy holidays. Best of everything to you and your family.
Thanks, Peter. Let's get that first cup since 1994.
And I just so you know, I don't acknowledge the cup in 1994.
Well, I know you're an Islanders guy. I know that.
I'll take the NBA Cup in the Garden, not the Stanley Cup again. No way. All right. Thanks, Anthony.
Peter, thanks so much, my man.
You got to take care. Anthony Donahue, biggest Knicks fan I know on the planet. I've got 3 minutes and maybe a couple minutes of overtime to breeze through, everything we've got here. What's hot at ticketbash.com. On the sports calendar tonight, the Rangers host the Canucks at the Garden, while St. John's hosts DePaul at Carnesec Arena. Friday, the Knicks host the Sixers. Islanders host the Canucks at UBS Arena. Sunday, the Giants host the Vikings at MetLife Stadium. Upcoming shows and concerts. Andrea Bocelli is at the Garden December 17th and 18th. The Jonas Brothers at UBS Arena on the 21st. And WWE Monday Night Raw coming to Barclays Center on January the 5th. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. It's time for the Sports Bash Media Poll Question of the day, and it's brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Here's the question, wrestling fans. Did the WWE get it right with the ending of John Cena's final match? And the two choices are yes or no. Let me quickly go around the room. Sean, did they get it right?
Yes.
Yes, I think they got it right too.
Yes.
Tony? Yes, thank you. It's we're all in agreement for the first time in quite some time. Everybody in the room is in agreement. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles Item of the Week. And it's this Terry Collins and Tom Hallion autographed 8x10 photo. They just had that event over the weekend at Mulcahy's. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. For more information on all of these events, visit coachescollectiblesny.com. Saturday was a very special day at UBS Arena. It was a day that a lot of Islander fans were looking forward to for a very long time. Finally, Pat LaFontaine was inducted into the Islanders Hall of Fame. I was excited to be there with my family on Saturday. I've become very close with Pat over the years, and I couldn't have been happier for him. And without getting too specific, him and his family have been going through a lot over the last few weeks. So they definitely deserved a smile on their face. And by the way, all the fans at the game on Saturday, I brought it with me, got this Pat LaFontaine coin. Let me hold it up.
Hang on.
You got it right there?
Not yet. Not yet.
No.
Hang on.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. They gave out this great Pat LaFontaine coin. There was the other side of the package. They did it for Brent Sutter last year, so I wanted to bring that by. The Islanders did that nice for the fans. By the way, the painting that you saw next to Pat LaFontaine at the podium, we have a full-size picture of it now. This was done by renowned artist Tony Caparelli, who I've been trying to get Tony to come in here. He lives in Manhattan. We're trying to find a day where he can come out to Long Island. He teaches at the Fashion Institute in Manhattan as well. But we're trying to get Tony to come in here on the show, be an FOP. We're still working on that, but incredible job on that Pat LaFontaine painting that was given to him on Saturday. Next week on Sports Bash, we're going to have shows on Monday and Tuesday in advance of the Christmas holiday. Monday, we're going to be joined by Todd Tryon, the commissioner of the Indoor Football League, the longest-running indoor football league right now in North America. So we look forward to having Todd on the show next week. And that will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guests, Sean Wachter and Anthony Donahue. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governors. Our thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening. Sports Bash is back this Thursday at 1 o'clock. We're still working on some guests. We'll let you know about it coming up on Thursday. Have a great day, everybody, and let's go Knicks. Bring the cup to New York tonight.